Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Chris. This is part 2, even though it's technically still the same video. But, so to catch up real fast, I don't remember who these guys were, but they went to, I want to say Voltor. They're trying to get Genoa protected, because that's their supply line. Napoleon was trying to attack Dago to separate the armies, and it's pretty much kind of working out exactly how he wanted. Didn't know what that sound was, but back to the video.
But while La Harpe's division moves off to reinforce Augereau, hungry French troops left in Dago turn to plunder and pillage. No one spots Colonel Vukasovic, a tough Croatian commander, approaching with 3,000 reinforcements. He attacks at dawn, routing the French and retaking Dago with ease. It requires the recall of La Harpe's division and another day of heavy combat before Vukasovic can be driven out of Dago. A bayonet charge led by 27-year-old Colonel Lannes wins particular praise from General Bonaparte. Napoleon has won 3 victories in 4 days. The marches and battles have been grueling, but he has achieved his first objective. The Austrians are regrouping at Acqui and will soon retreat to Alessandria. They can offer no support to the Piedmontese. And so General Colli orders another withdrawal to a strong defensive position behind the Corsalia River. Napoleon orders an immediate attack. Augereau's division on the right, Serrurier on the left, Massena in support. But the French, under heavy fire, struggle to cross the swollen river with its steep banks. When Serrurier's troops finally get into San Michele, they immediately begin looting the town and are thrown out by a counterattack. Despite his success, Colli is still heavily outnumbered and fears encirclement. The following evening, he begins a covert withdrawal to Mondovi. But Napoleon is not deceived by the fake campfires. Patrols confirm his suspicions. The Piedmontese are pulling back. Though his troops are exhausted, wet and hungry, he launches them after the fleeing enemy. Colli's troops are caught before they can establish a new defensive line. The brave and popular General Dicat is killed. Retreat turns to rout. The French enter Mondovi in triumph, where at last, briefly, they can eat and rest.
By the way, this is not this commercial. This is Epic History TV again. I said it in the beginning of the last video, but I didn't say it this time. Oh. And he had to, even though his guys were tired, he had to attack them before they could set up a new defense line at, was it Moldov? I forgot the name already. Brain of a goldfish. So he had to attack them before they could set up that, and then once they just decided to just flee, that also gave that military less time to get food, to get animals to slaughter. It pretty much just kept them running through that town or city for his military, for his French
General
military.
Colli, his defeated troops scattered and demoralized, requests an armistice.
Mondovi.
Napoleon declines as his troops descend from the mountains into the fertile plain of Piedmont. Destitute and starved, French soldiers now plunder the Italian countryside freely. Brigadier General Joubert is among those frustrated by the men's conduct. Everything would go very well if the soldiers did not abandon themselves to pillage. Not a day passes without some looters being shot. Despite this severity, the mania doesn't stop. The rural folk are arming themselves.
That's a common thing, I think, with a lot of militaries, with the soldiers back then. It happened in the Revolutionary War, happened in the Civil War, where alcohol was present and troops just went in there, and once they started drinking, they were like, to hell with the war, we're getting drunk. And I hate to say this, but if you're a military leader in that situation, you have to start to put in punishment. You're gonna have to execute a few people. I don't say that lightly. You're gonna have to make the men realize that when they want to just go pillage and steal and drink while there's still a mission at hand, there has to be a cost. And unfortunately, that cost is going to have to result in people losing their life, because the greater good is winning the war, and you can't have people doing, there's a time and a place.
Napoleon condemns such behavior, but his orders have limited impact, especially as everyone knows Generals Massena and Augereau to be two of the greatest offenders.
Oh, that's even worse.
On the 25th of April, French troops enter Carrasco, just 30 miles south of the Piedmontese capital, Turin. Meanwhile, General Beaulieu is at long last marching to Piedmont's aid, but he is a week late. And when he learns that Piedmont has opened negotiations with the enemy, he withdraws his troops in disgust, planning to take up new positions along the Po River. Austrian troops join in the plunder of Piedmontese villages as they go. Victor Amadeus III, King of Piedmont Sardinia, sees no option but to accept Bonaparte's terms for an armistice. Piedmont must give up the strategic fortresses at Cuneo and either Alessandria or Tortona, leaving the country virtually defenseless. The final peace treaty, signed 3 weeks later in Paris, cedes Nice and Savoie to France, and grants free passage to French armies. Napoleon has ended the 4-year war with Piedmont in less than 3 weeks. The Army of Italy has little time to rest on its laurels. 4 days later, having received 7,000 reinforcements and fresh supplies, it's on the move again. Napoleon plans to invade the rich province of Lombardy, ruled by the Emperor of Austria, and defeat Beaulieu's army. But first he must cross the Po River, which is closely watched by Austrian forces. It will prove one of Napoleon's most brilliant maneuvers. Massena is ordered to make conspicuous preparations to cross the river near Sale, assembling boats and building gun batteries. Meanwhile, Napoleon has formed a new elite brigade, 5,000 grenadiers, carabiniers and chasseurs to act as the army's advance guard under the command of General d'Allemagne. This force is ordered to march rapidly east to Piacenza and cover 40 miles in just 36 hours. They are followed by La Harpe's division, then Augereau and the cavalry. Beaulieu receives reports that French troops are moving east and begins to redeploy his forces. while remaining conscious that there are still French troops that might cross the Po as far west as Valença. This uncertainty makes it impossible for him to concentrate his forces. What's more, he's completely underestimated the scale and speed of Napoleon's move. The French advance guard, with Colonel Lannes in the lead, crosses the Po on the 7th of May, chasing off Austrian patrols that are the only opposition. By the next morning, most of La Harpe's and Augereau's divisions and the cavalry are across, consolidating the French bridgehead, while Massena and Serrurier move to the crossing as fast as they can. Men of General Liptai's division are the closest Austrian troops. They take up defensive positions at Fombio, but are overwhelmed by the French attack. That evening, Beaulieu's advance guard arrives, expecting to reinforce Liptai. Instead, they blunder into La Harpe's division. In confused night fighting, General La Harpe is shot dead, possibly by friendly fire. Napoleon regards him as one of the army's best generals, and his loss a great blow. Beaulieu, realizing that the French have crossed the Po in force and now threaten to cut him off, orders a rapid withdrawal east. Milan is to be sacrificed. The great fortress of Mantua will be his next refuge. The French advance guard is soon in pursuit. On the morning of the 10th of May, they catch the Austrian rearguard at Lodi. French troops chase the Austrians across town and over the town's 200-yard bridge over the River Adda. But when they try to follow, they find the bridge is swept by fire from 14 guns. Its far end is held by 3 battalions of Croatian infantry. Several more battalions and cavalry squadrons are behind them in reserve, around 6,500 men in total. Napoleon soon arrives and positions guns to bombard the Austrians on the far bank. An artillery duel rages for much of the afternoon. Napoleon sends Beaumont's cavalry brigade upstream to look for a ford so they can cross the river and flank the Austrian defences. But he grows impatient. Massena's division has begun to arrive from the south, bringing his strength up to 15,000 men and 30 guns. Napoleon makes a speech to the infantry, taunting them, daring them to take the bridge, then orders them forward. To cries of "Vive la République!" the hardened 2nd Carabinier Battalion leads the charge. They come under torrential fire from the Austrian guns. But urged on by Napoleon, Berthier, Massena, Lannes and others, French infantry surge across, under and around the bridge. Faced with this irresistible onslaught, the Austrian front line crumbles. And with French cavalry across the river to the north, the rest of the Austrian rearguard begins an orderly withdrawal.
Damn. What a great quote. By the way, all the paintings that they keep showing, like all these pictures, I'm loving every single one of them. I loved during the Napoleon series, all the paintings there. You know, the pictures. I thought they were just fantastic. Just good.
5 days after his victory at Lodi, Napoleon leads his army into the city of Milan. They are welcomed by cheering crowds. Though in reality, Italians are deeply divided in their attitudes towards the French. After Lodi, French soldiers have a new nickname for their general, Le Petit Caporal, the Little Corporal. It's a term of affection because he gets his hands dirty, even aiming the guns himself, the job of an artillery corporal. In just a month, Napoleon has transformed a war-weary, dishevelled and demoralised army into a victorious fighting force, brimming with esprit de corps and eager for further conquests. While he, in his first campaign, has demonstrated extraordinary energy, mastery of detail, brilliant military intuition, above all, indomitable self-belief. It is this quality that inspires his soldiers to risk their lives for glory, for the Republic, and for the man they will one day acclaim their emperor. A big thank you to...
That was good. Napoleon's first campaign, the Austrian Empire Strikes Back. I like that. All right. I'm going to end this, and I think I'm going to jump right into the next video, which will also be a two-parter. I think that was 20-some minutes long. So I'm going to end this here. Like and subscribe. I do appreciate this. Was a request, by the way, and I forgot who requested it. They just told me, hey, Epic History TV made another video. So I'm going to end this here, as I just said. And until the next video, have a good day, have a good night. Thanks for watching.